All right, welcome back, everybody, to Work in Progress, the live show from Reader Collective about work, life, and everything in between. Welcome back to the week of 420,
April.
April.
The week of April something.
Yeah,
Year
421.
2021.
It's the day after weekday, 420.
Yes.
I would say that's what my mom called it. She's like, "Did you know that April 20th is Weed Day?" And I was like, "Yes."
Did you know it was weed day? No, I didn't, Mom.
uh,
Mm-mm.
super innocent and fun.
Well, as
But
a historical reference, yesterday was also a very significant day in all seriousness. Was the Derek Chauvin trial.
yes, very
And, or
much
not the trial, but the
the verdict.
verdict. Thank you.
Correct.
So it was sort of a,
There's a
yeah,
lot going on
a heavy
yesterday.
week. I mean, is it like ever not a heavy week? I'm starting to feel like
It's
you need a
always
break.
it's always something. It was cold brew day yesterday as well, so you get your
Every day.
coffee and your weed and verdict that we were all waiting for.
Verdict.
So
Yes. Yes.
this week we are talking about three things: live shows, which I think we're all pretty much probably in the same boat that we're all missing live shows.
Yeah.
Um, Pasta,
Yep.
which could be pandemic pasta, could be just regular
Yeah.
pasta, and podcasts, pandemic and otherwise. So
Yeah.
we almost got the alliteration there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we were. I still can't think of what a P word for maybe public dancing live shows. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm Rachel. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. And I'm just realizing why something feels weird. I forgot to put headphones in.
Oh yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, we're a little off today. I am on
Okay.
allergy medicine. I forgot we didn't introduce ourselves. I'm Colin. I can think mostly straight, so we're gonna get through this show.
We're
Um,
good.
Reno is in full blossom, and I'm dying. So that's that.
Colin is dying, unfortunately.
Um,
Really unfair.
but live shows, I think underrated, overrated. How do you feel about live shows? Do you miss them? Do you?
Right. Before COVID and the pandemic, when there wasn't a chance, this is definitely one of those things. I was like, live shows overrated. Like, buy the CD. Okay, not the CD now, but buy the CD. When I went to live shows, that's how long ago it was. You bought a CD, and you could listen to it as much as you wanted, and you could hear all the songs you loved. Like you could request by playing that specific song, whereas going out
Uh
to a live
oh.
show was kind of
This
like,
is the good opinion. We got yep.
oh no.
The what?
So I didn't like going. I wasn't a huge fan because it was expensive. It was never in town.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now, yes, I would very much like to go out. And I actually, one of the places I really want to go to is the High Sierra Music Festival, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have some friends that go out there with their trailer, and it sounds like a lot of fun. So,
Nice. Yeah, I mean, live shows, I know artists are hurting. I mean, a lot of things were able to bounce back fairly quickly or in some form, right? Like, stores going online, restaurants going to pickup,
mhm.
but pretty hard to transform your show. And I know a lot of people moved to Zoom, and a lot of people are, Patreon supporters and backers of artists to just try to help people
Mhm.
make it. But part of performing is their craft, and I know a bunch of people that I know that moved to, like, pay what you can, ticketed live shows, things like that. And I think the one that kind of made the headlines the most was the Flaming Lips and their
Yes.
Bubble concert. So I don't have something to show here, but they have these, like, large hamster ball inflatable
Yeah, like clear
balloons.
beach
Yeah.
balls.
And you, for your tickets, you go inside these balls and you're in a concert, which I think would be pretty fun, like just as like a bubble mosh pit. But
Yeah.
it was really funny because you have these little signs that you hold up if you get too hot or if you have to go to the bathroom.
You're not allowed any food or drink.
No food or drink.
Probably
And
get checked for sharp objects, I would assume.
yeah, that's so. And they were able to do this. Let's see, I'm really an introvert, but at this point, even I miss live shows, dinners, friends, arguments, everything. Yeah, I think we've all gotten to that point.
Yeah.
And so Wayne, the front man of Flaming Lips. I remember watching this on Instagram when he was like posting photos of like trying this out, and he's got like this deflated huge beach ball, and then he gets himself inside of it, blows it up. I don't know how breathing and all of that works. I imagine they need to
Right.
like get some fresh air in there, or whatever. But
Yeah, like
yeah,
I'm going to pass out sign. I think, yeah, like the I need
no
air.
hot boxing inside the bubbles.
Yes. Yes, going on a theme. No, none of that. None of that.
So what is Art Town doing? Because Art Town's doing something similar. We're not going to be seeing Reno people in bubbles, but they
Yeah,
are working
so
on something.
our town, if you're listening from out of Reno, our town is a month-long arts events thing that has been going on for, I think it's been over 30 years, definitely over 20. So they're going to take over a huge field that is usually dedicated, well, half of it's a dog park, the other half is a large field that's just an open space, but dedicated to things like another great Reno tradition, the great balloon race, hot air balloon race. They're going to be build, well, I don't know if they're painted on or if it's a
They're using
physical thing.
yeah
Circles.
they're using some sort of eco-safe paint to paint. I'm trying to find the number. It's a lot of circles.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
over 100. I mean, that whole field. This is,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know
So they
how
say
big
that
the
they'll be
ball
able to
field is,
host
but bigger
two.
than a football field.
They'll be able to host 2,000 people. They're not selling individual tickets. They're going to be selling pods
Right.
that can accommodate up to 4 people. So there'll be 500 circles painted on the grass 6 feet apart in all directions from other pods, with the plan to have, I guess, people moving between the pods, bringing like drinks and stuff. So
Right.
very different art town. I mean, I think it's awesome that there's going to be a center stage that you can, instead of having all of these different venues that, maybe you just don't get to certain ones. I would love to see all of Midtown, downtown, lit up with people again, but, it's still something that we got to wait on. And so instead, I mean, there's really just one main stage. And so everyone from small to large artists are going to be on the center stage. And that's kind of a cool opportunity for new artists, too.
But what's weird though is there's one stage. If there's 500 pods, that stage is so far away.
Yeah. But I think at this point,
some
some of us want that, like, it's like a gradient. Some people don't. We want to go to a live show, but I want to be in the back. I'm imagining that some of these are probably cost more if you're in the front and stuff like that. I think a lot of us are going to have to think about that. Like, what does returning to being around people again look like? Like, I don't know. I just my tolerance for some people has gone down through all of this. So, I would like to hang out with some people out in the world, but not all people. So
I'm not returning your call.
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah. It's weird. Siri just doesn't even let it ring anymore for some people. But no, in all seriousness, like, there's definitely where it's like there was definitely a bar in Sparks that they were like, yeah, we don't allow masks in here. And I was like, this is fun. So I was like, I'm pretty sure, and it was packed. I mean, it was very packed. So it's like, well, this is not a bar that I'm going to be coming to for a little bit. But I think it's cool that they're working on plans. I know this is also a big issue with Burning Man right now, being an event that's fully outside. If Burning Man happens, which we should hear on Saturday, the 23rd or the 30th is when they're supposed to know. And I don't see how it can happen just because it's a global event and you're just not going to get the global participation, which is part of what makes it Burning Man. Like, I don't really want to go to American Burning Man where it's just...
Or Nevada Burning Man.
Nevada Man, yeah.
Yeah. It's not...
We'll see. They are doing something. They're requiring vaccines if the event happens. They've been communicating, and it's just been... I get it. Like, events are hard even when you don't have all these requirements, and so they're making do.
It's not easy. I mean, I think, that goes back to, like, when I was in high school and college and buying a CD and making copies illegally. Sure, the statute of limitations is up on that. That was, I wasn't considering, like, the artists and what they were making and what they actually got out of that and all that, and I have a lot more of awareness of that, but so I have more of an awareness about how difficult it is for these events and to put on these events. But yeah, it's I don't know. I have a little bit of a bone to pick too with Burning Man because I had seen this the article that was talking about it recently in the local newspaper, um, that said you could put a $1,500 hold down on tickets
Oh, it's
coming up
worse. It's
soon.
worse than that. It's
Is it
the
2,500?
invitation to the future is $2,500 for the next two Burning Man. So whether it's this year, next year, or the next 2 years, whichever happens, and it
Yeah.
doesn't include the tickets. It's just to
No,
hold your spot. So
not to hold your spot.
I
But
think. Go
one
ahead.
of the arguments, people's arguments about the vaccination was saying it was unfair to people who were low income to have to go and get the vaccine. And I was like, what world do you live in that $2,500 to hold a freaking ticket is somehow not considered insane, but getting the vaccine is, which as far as I know, I don't think anyone is charging for the vaccine. Like,
No, even Pfizer and Moderna, they're not even selling. They're selling it at costs to the agencies that are
it's like,
administering it.
if the
So yeah,
access is the issue to getting the vaccine, how the hell are you getting out to Burning Man?
yeah.
I-
No,
It's
there's a lot going on there. So normally they do FOMO tickets that cost
Mhm.
I think $1,100 or $1,400, and there's actually 4,000 of those tickets. So there's only a certain number of the $2,500 and 5,000. There's actually levels of like once the 2,500 go out, there's 5, 10, 25, and it's really just a way to solicit donors to help accommodate the what they've already paid for.
It is a piss
Yeah.
poor excuse for
No, it is. It is.
why do we need vaccine?
Yeah, you don't want to go read the comments on any of those articles. It's pretty bad. So, anyways, that's all to say. Like, I think as far as like very much like after 1918, we're gonna see a roaring 20s type thing of events, shows, dinners, everything that Josh was just mentioning here. Like that's
Yeah.
people have been foregoing those things. They've, in some cases been able to save for them. Some of them that money has gone towards other costs, or if they lost their job, whatever. And as people start to recover, they're going to want to do those things again, and we're going to see a lot more of that. And hopefully, the artists are going to be able to come back strong too.
Yeah.
So, some comeback shows for sure would be pretty awesome. So, live shows.
Yeah. Live shows are underrated. Why is this so confusing?
I would say it's underrated.
Yeah,
You were saying pre-pandemic they're overrated.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. But that, like, yeah.
Yeah. I think the venue depends a lot, right? Like I've been to shows where I was like, I do wish I was at home in a chair with a glass of whiskey listening to this, and then others where it's like, you need to be around the people for this show to be fun. So
I saw two of my favorite concerts real quick before we move on. One was Beth Orton came years ago. Like I think it was after college. Should have been about 2002. She came to the GSR, which I don't think it was called the GSR at that point, and she played in one of the little bars that were right off the gaming tables.
nice.
And she was barefoot on stage. There were like 20 of us in this little bar. It was amazing. And then once in London, got to a secret Fatboy Slim underground bar concert that someone heard about, and we got in with like 100, with like 100 people.
I see. So after these experiences, you're like, all of the shows are overrated.
I guess my thing is
I'll just
more
buy this.
intimate. That's why the art.
No, I think the small intimate shows are always awesome. So hopefully we'll have more of that, more speakeasy shows, things like that. So
Yes.
so next up, this one's fun because I got to introduce you to I guess both of these, which was the first one. We're going to talk about pasta. So Rachel did not know what TikTok pasta was, which I am not on the TikTok, but we did make this at home because Chanel had seen it and wanted to try it. So TikTok pasta, have you tried it yet?
I haven't yet. And
this is like super old if anyone it was actually on TikTok, which I don't think our listeners are, but
I can't remember. Was the pasta cooked beforehand?
I don't even remember. It's such a simple dish, and it's funny that it blew up on TikTok. It's like kids discovering that they can actually make their own food for the first time. I don't know. They're like, look how easy it is. You add cheese to anything, it will taste amazing. I think that is
Yeah,
it's a fact.
cheese, tomatoes. I think someone had like asparagus in it in one of the recipes.
We're all
But
too old for TikTok, Josh. It's
like
okay.
it looks different when you
Yes.
crumble feta.
So it's a block of feta, a
Block. Yeah.
crap ton of like grape tomatoes or cherry tomatoes, whichever,
Mhm.
and pasta, and yeah, you mix that up. It's going to be amazing after you bake it. But this kind of led into the other story, which
Mhm.
I haven't listened to the podcast yet, but I've been kind of watching again just through food Instagram the creation of this new cascatelli pasta.
Yeah, cascatelli. Pasta.
We'll find a link and I'll post it in Twitch here. But cascatelli.
Cascatelli?
So what is it? What is that for you?
So
Let's
it
see.
means it's Italian for waterfalls, but it looks like what Colin mentioned, although maybe you saw it somewhere else, but it looks like an individual, oh God, what are they called? Octopus arm. What are those called?
Tentacle.
Not a tentacle.
Yeah, tentacle.
No, isn't the tentacle? No, those are the suckers. Right. So they have 8 tentacles?
Looks like his name is Castelli. Let's see. I can't find anything right now. But there is a podcast. We put it in our
Forkful, yeah.
yeah, we put it in our newsletter this week. But there's a whole podcast. I think it's 5 episodes on the journey that he went down, and we were joking about because people have like fed AI algorithms like the entire all the seasons of The Office, and then the AI like generates a new episode of The Office. And so, like, what would it look like to make like AI generated pasta that could like hold the most amount of sauce, right? It's like if you know what all of the facets of pasta is and what's possible, and he kind of did that. Like he didn't use AI for this, but he basically designed essentially one of the best pastas for holding sauce. So there you go.
It looks, yeah, I listened to the trailer. I haven't listened to the show yet, but it was pretty funny because the company that he finally got to make it, they sell in Whole Foods. And he said, great. So since you sell in Whole Foods, we'll just add this to the shelf. And the guy's like, no.
Yeah.
Like, goes into the whole how you make a food, how you make a product, how you get to sell it, like that whole thing as well. At least that's what it seemed like with the show. They go into more in depth, which, you know, I don't know, I find that fascinating.
Yeah. Well, I think it was like a cool story from like it's like he's starting a business. He is a former James Beard award-winning chef, so
Yeah.
he had some of that experience before. But the creativity process of like why he didn't go out and get permission to go
Right.
make a new type of pasta, like it's
Didn't
like
Italians.
who are you? Yeah. I finally found the link. So Mission Impossible. Post that.
Oh, that's right. Yes, Mission Impossible.
So yeah, he wanted to invent a new pasta shape, and 3 later's a whole podcast and a new thing for you to order, which it is unfortunately sold out. So we haven't tried it yet.
Yep.
I would say it's not the cheapest pasta in the world, but I'm excited to try it.
No, this is like special. This is brand new.
Treat yourself. This is.
I wonder if he has a
NFT.
NFT.
A non-fungible token for this. Yeah, he has the master pasta that was made from all the pasta.
Nice. Yeah, I was thinking about like pasta is such an easy, simple thing to make as a meal. At least when when I had roommates or when I was single, or even just like just me and my husband or family. It's usually most people. I don't think I've really run into anyone who doesn't like pasta, but I run into people who don't like certain types. Like I'm not a fan of whole wheat pasta because no.
What I love though is that the first episode is titled "Pasta that Spaghetti Sucks," because spaghetti doesn't have any of the features of any of the other pasta that's meant to hold sauce.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like just really, really simple stuff.
If any Italians are out there listening.
Yeah, exactly.
They're gonna give us 1 star.
The making of the ultimate sauce, like Italian grandmothers.
Different noodles are designed for different sauces, so
Really,
yeah.
whatever it's called. Oh yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
so this one, so listening to that trailer and this guy, the shortened version of like all the work that he went into doing this, it kind of leads us to one of the podcasts that I had gotten into. So I was calling these pandemic podcasts simply because I never listened to podcasts before, because I always had to have, if I was doing something that I could listen to a podcast, like gardening, I always had to have one ear open to listen for my kids. So it didn't really balance very well. I didn't really have the opportunity to listen to like actually get into something. So I started during the early part of the pandemic, I started doing long walks and then finding podcasts. But one that I really enjoy, and I think a lot of people have gotten into it, but is TED Radio Hour. And I like TED Talks, but I really like the TED Radio Hour because it's tied in with NPR,
Mm-hmm.
and their reporters like really delve into and like usually showcase 4 or 5 um, people, speakers. But one of them was this episode on this guy who's a writer. He's an author, but he's this like self-proclaimed like really grumpy guy, and he read that, or maybe it was a TED talk, read or saw um, The Power of Being Grateful. And so he decided to thank every single person involved in the highlight of his day, which was a cup of coffee from the nearby coffee shop. And he went into the whole thing, like the people who make the sleeves, which I just blanked on the name of what the sleeves are. They're called like parves or something, or plats. Anyway, the sleeve, the coffee, the pest control person who takes care of the roasting plant. He went down to Peru to meet the growers, and then he met like all these people.
Probably whoever shipped it from the grower to
Yes, exactly. It was really neat. And then he details it. I think he detailed it in a book, but I haven't read the book. But yeah, it was really fascinating. So I like
nice.
that one a lot. I like that podcast.
Yeah, you got a couple on here. Oh,
Yes.
actually, Brene Brown. I haven't listened to this one. So
Yes.
Unlocking Us.
I listened to her. I had first heard about her years ago, I think when she first kind of hit. She was a TED Talk actually as well. But she's a social worker, and she's been very like, she talks a lot about that, and so obviously I have similar interests. But that was how I heard about the Ted Lasso show.
Okay.
Was from her and interviewing Jason Sudeikis, and the other writer is Brendan Hunt. So she was interviewing them, and it just sounded hilarious. And that was how I got onto Ted
Nice.
Lasso, and then got you hooked.
Yeah, Ted Lasso. Highly recommend if you haven't seen it. I just saw the trailer for season 2. It came out yesterday, so
Yeah, I heard
very
that it
good.
came out. I've been wanting to see the trailer.
Comes out in June or July. But in a similar fashion to Brene Brown, I really like Esther Perel's Where Should We Begin? So
Oh.
her podcast, I mean, that thing is deep. So you gotta be careful what you're listening to and when. And she did a whole series. You can kind of go through topic by topic if there's something that you kind of want to think about yourself or work on yourself. But she did a bunch with couples living in the pandemic, and some of those are pretty rough. So
She was featured on one of the TED Radio Hour podcasts, and I have her name on one of my things to look up.
Yeah, I think she got really popular because of TED. And so what I like about that is that, there's the stereotypical TED Talk that the thought leaders put out there, but then you can find some of these people like Brene and Esther that have been doing this work for like their entire lives and just didn't have the stage for it. So, so what else do you listen to?
So another one that I discovered, so I discovered it when we had shut the collective, and I was hiding at the collective, for lack of a better word, or just to be honest, from my kids and my husband on our off days. So he and I would flip days where I would do homeschool and he'd go to work, and then I would get to go to the collective so I could actually do my work. But I was in there and there was no one there, and it was quiet and it was creaky, and I was listening to music, but then it like the music just didn't cut it, and I needed like voices and such. And I think this was around, with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and there was a lot of, there was a lot of news. I mean, this was the, Trump and all of this stuff, and so I had come across this podcast that was suggested, and it's called Ear Hustle. So in prison, it's a prison slang term for eavesdropping, and it's all about life in prison. And it's a visual artist, a woman based in San Francisco, who, I'm forgetting how they teamed up, but they teamed up together. The guy named Erlon, I think that's how you pronounce it, but he was a prisoner, and they teamed up on a project that was really like, uh, you know, inmates learning a new skill.
Mm-hmm.
So it was podcasting, it was technology and art, but they just like really meshed. And it actually it has a couple, let me see, it's got like 60 episodes or so. But before the last episodes, he actually is released from San Quentin.
Oh wow.
But it's a whole story about what it's like in prison, and her experience of getting to come and go, and his experience of never leaving. And then other people that are mentioned, that might make guest appearances. It was really good. It was really funny. It was really intense. But
So
yes.
so that one does have like an end to it. It's more like
Mm-hmm.
that. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that one wrapped up.
Because I know a lot of podcasts are like non-ending. Like The Daily, for instance, comes out every weekday. Some of the shows that I'm going to throw out there, I started listening to Staying In with Kumail Nanjiani and Emily, blanking on Emily's name. They started their show when the pandemic started, and then they stopped. They didn't really say why they stopped, but they stopped probably 6 months ago. So the show is not probably something you want to listen to now, just because it was like very topical while it was coming out. But that was really good from a pandemic podcast perspective. Um, I've also come back around. I mentioned David Chang's show a bunch of times in past episodes, so I definitely love that, especially any of his My Opinion is Fact episodes, which we kind of have borrowed the underrated, overrated from him on that.
Yep.
Which is funny because a lot of podcasts are doing that now. So like Make Me Smart with Kai Rizdal and Molly Wood, they do half full, half empty on things. And they loved talking about the Ever Given being trapped in the canal, and they're always half full on the fact that the ship was the ship that kept on giving as far as news was concerned. So. But yeah, might Make Me Smart with Kai Rizdal and Molly Wood. That's also another good one if you are into kind of like the tech and news and current events with specifically if you really like them. I've listened to Molly on all sorts of tech podcasts that she's been on from I don't even remember, like Tech TV days, stuff like that. So
Yeah, because I know
CNET.
yeah. Like Marketplace, right?
Yeah. So she does Marketplace as well. So they have that as a podcast. I listen to it in podcast form, but Marketplace Tech is usually Molly Wood. So
yeah, they did a children's book this winter. They released it, and it's the Make Me Smart. It's that based or inspired by that series, inspired by their podcast, and it's all about bodies, like the human body, and all like it's great, but it's like all the grossest stuff ever. It's amazing. My kids love it. Can't recommend that one enough.
I will say the other one from David Chang is Recipe Club. So this one is fun to listen to because it's like you wouldn't think a food competition show would work in your ear, but you don't see it. It's just them talking, but they spin a wheel and they tackle one ingredient, or like one topic. So like one was like those Boboli pizza shells that you buy that are on like the end cap that are like basically, it's strange because it's like shelf-stable bread product. It's not bread. It's not pizza dough. It's its own thing. And so everyone had to make something with Boboli pizza dough. And then, they'll do mashed potatoes. And of course, it's like, I think a lot of people expect that chefs are going to go fancy with it. And David loves the microwave. So it's just like all about like, how do you, like, which I think is good, especially during, when people are cooking at home or trying to not make cooking intimidating. It's just fun to listen to people talk about things like that. So
Yeah.
those are a few of my recommendations.
Oh, wait. You missed one.
Which ones? My fiction ones?
Dungeons and Daddies. Please
Yeah.
tell me what this is.
Yes. So when I'm not listening to food shows, current events, and tech podcasts, my fictional podcasts are Critical Role for D&D and Dungeons and Daddies, which is it's 3 or 4 dads playing Dungeons and Dragons. Both Dungeons and Daddies is definitely like a humor comedy D&D podcast. Hilarious, and they just have fun with it. Critical Role, that thing. They're in I guess campaign 2, but there's campaign 1 is like 400 hours of listening, so there's hours and hours and hours. They do about 3 to 4 hours every Thursday. So if you're wanting to get into the show, it's kind of intimidating to jump into, but if you, they're all voice actors, so it's extremely well done, and they have a bunch of stuff on YouTube for like getting caught up on the show if you don't want to start from the beginning. So yeah.
Is each episode, the 3 to 4 hours, a game that they end, or do you mean when you say
yeah, so D&D, I guess we haven't talked about D&D too much on here, but in their games it's shocking. We'll have to get some other D&D people on here in the future.
That would be fun.
I don't know where we'll find them, but in Critical Role, it's a story that, like, so campaign 2, I don't even know what episode they're on, but like whatever episode they're on now, it's one whole story arc. Okay. So you can listen to one, but you're going to be very lost unless you start at the beginning. So they're trying to create content to get people caught up. It's similar to like in D&D, you can play a game that can be done in a night, but usually it's like a book of stories, or the DM comes up with their own stories, or at least their own scenarios, and then the story unfolds with the actors, the players, right? And so Critical Role has definitely become like the most famous from a pop culture perspective. Like they're the ones that kind of made D&D explode, along with Stranger Things and stuff like that.
Nice.
But they're coming out. Critical Role is going to be a cartoon on Amazon.
Wow.
They have comic books, they have toys, they have swag, they got everything now. So
nice.
It's D&D jumped the shark, but it's very good. So all the actors are voice actors in like famous animes and video games and stuff like that.
Wow. So, okay. Yeah. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. So those are some of our podcasts.
Yeah, little things that keep us busy.
Highly underrated podcasts in general.
I agree. I thought they were overrated again. I thought it was something that was overrated. But
Saul's got The Moth, which I've not heard of. Afterglow.
Show. Those are great. They're storytelling.
And Reno's Storytellers Project, so local one.
Oh, yeah. What was the other? I didn't listen to it. What was the podcast that was local, that was based on?
Yeah, that was The City. Season 2, the City was all about Reno, and that I thought I knew a lot about Reno and all of the backdoor politics that are going on. If you are interested in that, definitely listen to The City. Yeah, that was coming out a little bit before the pandemic, because we went to a live Q&A with the hosts.
Yeah.
Right, but I feel like that was one of the last things that I got to go out to before stuff started to shut down. But yeah,
a while ago.
A lot's happened since then.
Well, good. Well, now with all that free time that everyone has, you can fill it up.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, you can find us on Twitch and YouTube, which hopefully you're watching on one of those right now. That would be beneficial. You can always find us on YouTube, past recordings, and we are up to 33 episodes, so you can catch up anytime. You don't have to watch our show in order. Although it does get better as we go with time, I think. Yeah, and then you can find us online in all the social places and renocollective.com.
Perfect. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you, Colin. Good night.
See you, everybody.